definiteness of purpose is the foundation upon which all success is built. It is the unshakable clarity of knowing what one wants, why one wants it, and how one intends to achieve it. Without definiteness, the human mind drifts, susceptible to distractions, doubts, and the influence of forces that seek to derail ambition. A person without a clear purpose is like a ship without a rudder, aimlessly floating at the mercy of external circumstances. However, when an individual possesses a well-defined purpose, they become the master of their fate, able to navigate through life with confidence and precision. To understand the power of definiteness, one must first recognize the dangers of its opposite, indecision. Indecisiveness is a silent killer of dreams, a force that traps people in a perpetual state of hesitation. Those who lack a definite goal often find themselves chasing fleeting interests, moving from one idea to another without making significant progress. They become victims of circumstances, allowing external influences to dictate their actions. The result? A life filled with frustration, regret, and unfulfilled potential. But when an individual makes a firm decision about what they want, something remarkable happens. The mind, once scattered and unfocused, becomes a laser-sharp instrument of achievement. The person gains a sense of direction that allows them to prioritize tasks, ignore distractions, and persist through obstacles. A clear purpose acts as a guiding star, illuminating the path even in the darkest moments. No longer swayed by fear or uncertainty, the individual moves forward with unwavering determination. History is filled with examples of individuals who harnessed the power of definiteness of purpose to achieve greatness. Consider the case of Thomas Edison, who set out with a clear mission to create an efficient electric light bulb. He faced thousands of failures, yet his definiteness of purpose kept him going. He did not view failures as defeats, but as lessons leading him closer to success. His unwavering commitment to his goal allowed him to revolutionize the world. Similarly, great leaders, inventors, and entrepreneurs throughout history have demonstrated that clarity of purpose is the common denominator of extraordinary success. They did not merely hope for success. They decided upon it with absolute certainty. Once the decision was made, they moved forward relentlessly, refusing to be swayed by doubt, criticism, or setbacks. Definitiveness of purpose does not mean simply having a vague desire for success. Many people wish for wealth, happiness, or achievement, but wishes alone are powerless. A true definite purpose is specific, measurable, and accompanied by a burning desire to see it through. It is not enough to say, "I want to be successful." One must define what success means to them, outline a plan, and commit to it without hesitation. For definiteness of purpose to be effective, it must be coupled with unwavering faith. Doubt is the enemy of progress, and those who entertain even the slightest uncertainty about their ability to succeed invite failure into their lives. The moment one decides upon a goal, they must eliminate all thoughts of defeat. This is not blind optimism, it is a conscious decision to refuse failure as an option. Every great achievement begins with an unshakable belief in its possibility. Furthermore, definiteness of purpose transforms obstacles into opportunities. A person without a clear goal sees challenges as roadblocks, reasons to give up. But someone with a definite purpose views challenges as stepping stones, necessary lessons that refine and strengthen their ability to achieve their objective. When difficulties arise, they do not ask, "Why me?" Instead, they ask, "What can I learn from this?" This shift in mindset makes all the difference. Another key aspect of definiteness of purpose is its ability to attract like-minded individuals and opportunities. When a person is clear about what they want and moves with conviction, they naturally draw the right people, resources, and circumstances into their lives. This is often mistaken for luck, but it is in fact the result of focused intention. A person with a definite purpose emits a magnetic energy that attracts success. To cultivate definiteness of purpose, one must begin with deep self-examination. What do you truly desire? What goal sets your soul on fire? It is crucial to choose a purpose that aligns with one's passion and strength, because half-hearted goals will never inspire the level of commitment necessary for success. Once the purpose is identified, it must be written down, refined, and reinforced daily. Repetition of one's goal in the mind strengthens the subconscious belief in its achievement. Another effective strategy is visualization. Those who achieve great things often visualize their success long before it materializes. They see themselves accomplishing their goal, experiencing the emotions of triumph, and overcoming obstacles. This mental rehearsal prepares the mind for real-life execution, making success feel inevitable. However, definiteness of purpose is not just about thinking. It requires relentless action. Many people fall into the trap of waiting for the perfect moment to begin, but those with a definite purpose do not wait. They take immediate steps toward their goal, no matter how small. Progress, no matter how gradual, reinforces the commitment to the objective and builds momentum. Additionally, one must guard their mind against negative influences. The world is filled with naysayers, critics, and forces that attempt to plant seeds of doubt. A person with a definite purpose must learn to shut out these voices, surrounding themselves with individuals who support and encourage their vision. The mind is a fertile ground. Whatever is planted in it will grow. Therefore, it is crucial to cultivate thoughts that strengthen one's commitment rather than weaken it. Consistency is another fundamental aspect of definiteness of purpose. Many start with enthusiasm but falter when faced with obstacles. Those who truly succeed understand that commitment to a goal means showing up every day, regardless of external circumstances. They develop a work ethic that is immune to excuses, knowing that persistence is the key to mastery. Ultimately, definiteness of purpose is a force that turns dreams into reality. It is the antidote to a life of drifting, the weapon against fear and doubt, and the foundation of all great achievements. Those who master this principle gain an extraordinary advantage in life, while those who lack it remain trapped in mediocrity. The world does not reward indecision. It rewards those who dare to choose a path and follow it with unwavering commitment. Every great leader, innovator, and trailblazer throughout history has possessed an unbreakable sense of purpose. They refused to be swayed by setbacks, they ignored the opinions of doubters, and they pressed forward with relentless determination. The choice is clear. One can either live as a wanderer at the mercy of external circumstances or take control of their destiny by deciding once and for all what they want and committing to it fully. Those who embrace definiteness of purpose will find that success is not a matter of chance, but of choice. The power lies within every individual to shape their own future. All that is required is the courage to decide, the discipline to act, and the faith to persist. In the end, those who possess a definite purpose do not merely exist, they live with meaning, direction, and an unshakable certainty that they are the architects of their own destiny. Fear is a powerful force, one that can shape our lives in profound ways, often limiting our potential and causing us to shrink away from opportunity. Fear is deeply rooted in the human psyche, and it serves as an instinctual mechanism designed to protect us from harm. However, in modern life, fear has evolved from a protective instinct to a mental barrier that holds many back from realizing their true potential. Understanding fear, recognizing its manifestations, and mastering it is essential to outsmarting the devil that seeks to sabotage our dreams and aspirations. Fear, in its most basic form, is a reaction to perceived threats. The physical body responds by triggering a fight or flight response, preparing us to either confront or escape danger. This survival mechanism served our ancestors well in the wild, protecting them from predators or hostile environments. Yet in the present day, this primal fear often manifests itself in situations where no physical threat exists, such as pursuing a new career, starting a business, or speaking in public. In these instances, fear is not an external force, but a product of our own thoughts and perceptions. The first step in overcoming fear is acknowledging that it exists. Fear is not something to be ashamed of. It is a natural response to the unknown or the uncertain. Everyone, from the most successful entrepreneur to the most accomplished leader, experiences fear at some point. The difference lies in how one chooses to respond to it. While some are paralyzed by fear, others use it as fuel to move forward. The key is to understand that fear is not a permanent state, but a temporary emotion that can be managed and transformed. One of the greatest fears that hold people back is the fear of failure. The fear of failing can prevent individuals from taking the first step toward their goals. It often manifests as self-doubt and an overwhelming sense of inadequacy. Many people fear that their efforts will not be good enough or that they will be ridiculed or criticized for their attempts. This fear can be crippling, leading to procrastination or worse, the avoidance of the goal altogether. It creates a vicious cycle where the longer one avoids taking action, the more the fear intensifies and the further they drift from achieving their potential. The fear of failure is particularly dangerous because it often convinces us that failure is a reflection of our worth as individuals. We believe that if we fail, it means we are not good enough, and this belief erodes our self-esteem. However, failure is not a judgment of our abilities, but a part of the learning process. Every great success story is built upon a foundation of failures, each one providing invaluable lessons that help us refine our approach and improve. Understanding that failure is not an end but a stepping stone toward success is crucial in overcoming this fear. Another common fear is the fear of rejection. This fear stems from our inherent need for acceptance and approval from others. We fear being judged or criticized, and this fear can manifest in a variety of ways, from hesitance in social situations to reluctance in making bold decisions in our careers. The fear of rejection is often rooted in the belief that others' opinions define our worth. This mindset is dangerous because it leads to a life of seeking external validation rather than internal fulfillment. Those who fear rejection often sacrifice their own desires and values in an attempt to conform to the expectations of others. This stifles creativity, innovation, and personal growth. To overcome the fear of rejection, one must shift the focus from seeking external approval to cultivating self-acceptance. When we learn to trust ourselves and our abilities, the opinions of others lose their power to dictate our actions. Rejection becomes just another form of feedback, not a personal attack. People who have mastered the fear of rejection are more likely to take risks and pursue their passions without concern for what others may think. They understand that true fulfillment comes from within, not from the approval of others. There is also the fear of the unknown, which can prevent people from stepping out of their comfort zones. The unknown represents uncertainty, and uncertainty can feel threatening. We fear what we cannot predict or control, and this fear keeps us stuck in familiar yet limiting situations. It is easy to remain in a job, a relationship, or a lifestyle that feels comfortable, even if it is not fulfilling, because the fear of the unknown is greater than the discomfort of staying where we are. However, growth and progress can only occur when we step into the unknown. It is in these moments of uncertainty that we find new opportunities, new experiences, and the chance to evolve. Overcoming the fear of the unknown requires a shift in perspective. Instead of seeing uncertainty as something to be feared, we must view it as an opportunity for growth. The greatest achievements in history were born from moments of uncertainty. Innovation, entrepreneurship, and personal transformation all require venturing into the unknown. By embracing uncertainty and reframing it as a natural part of the journey, we can break free from the paralyzing grip of fear. Fear can also manifest as a fear of success. This may seem counterintuitive, as many people spend their lives striving for success. However, the fear of success is a very real phenomenon. Some individuals fear the responsibility that comes with success, while others fear the changes that success will bring to their lives. Success often requires us to let go of old habits, relationships, and ways of thinking, and this process can be intimidating. There is also the fear that success will alienate us from those around us or create a pressure to maintain high expectations. To conquer the fear of success, we must first redefine what success means to us. Success should not be viewed as a destination, but as a continuous process of growth and fulfillment. By focusing on the journey rather than the destination, we can avoid the anxiety that comes with the pressure of achieving an external standard of success. Additionally, we must learn to embrace the changes that success brings, knowing that they are a natural part of personal evolution. While fear can take many forms, there is one universal truth. Fear only has power over us if we allow it. Fear thrives in the absence of action. It is in the moments of hesitation and indecision that fear takes root and grows. The antidote to fear is action. When we take consistent, purposeful action in the face of fear, we diminish its power over us. Every step we take forward is a step away from the grip of fear, and with each action, we build confidence in our ability to handle whatever challenges arise. Mastering fear is not about eliminating it completely, but about learning to coexist with it. Fear will always be a part of our lives, but it does not have to control us. When we acknowledge fear as a natural emotion and choose to act in spite of it, we reclaim our power. Fear may never fully disappear, but it becomes a tool rather than a barrier, a tool that sharpens our resilience, fortitude, and courage. The truth is, fear is often a sign that we are on the verge of something great. It is a signal that we are pushing beyond our limits, expanding our horizons, and stepping into new territory. Fear, when confronted head-on, becomes a catalyst for growth and transformation. It is the devil's greatest weapon, but it is also the key to unlocking our deepest potential. By mastering fear, we outsmart the devil and free ourselves from the chains that hold us back. The journey to mastering fear is ongoing, but it begins with a simple choice, the choice to act despite the fear. When we make that choice, we take the first step toward a life of freedom, courage, and success. Fear no longer dictates our path. We do. And in that moment, we have outsmarted the devil, for we have chosen to live our lives on our terms. Undeterred by the shadows of doubt and hesitation, self-discipline is one of the most powerful traits that an individual can develop. Yet it is often one of the most difficult. In a world filled with distractions, temptations, and immediate gratifications, the ability to exercise self-discipline is a rare and valuable quality. Those who master self-discipline achieve remarkable levels of success, while those who struggle with it often find themselves stuck in a cycle of procrastination, regret, and missed opportunities. To outsmart the forces that seek to undermine our goals, we must understand and cultivate self-discipline in all areas of life. Self-discipline is the ability to control one's emotions, behavior, and actions in the face of external demands to achieve a greater goal. It requires the strength to act according to one's values and principles, even when it is difficult, uncomfortable, or inconvenient. In its simplest form, self-discipline is the ability to delay gratification in favor of long-term rewards. It is easy to give in to short-term pleasures or distractions, but those who achieve great things understand that lasting success requires sacrifice and hard work. The foundation of self-discipline is the ability to set clear goals and commit to them without wavering. It is impossible to be disciplined if one has no clear idea of what they want to achieve. Without a vision, there is nothing to focus on, and without focus, the mind becomes scattered. Self-discipline requires a purpose, a destination, and a roadmap to get there. Once this goal is established, the individual must then exercise the discipline to take consistent action toward it, even when things get tough or motivation wanes. Motivation can be fleeting, but self-discipline is a consistent force that allows a person to move forward regardless of how they feel in the moment. The journey to cultivating self-discipline begins with the mastery of the mind. The mind is the battlefield where all decisions are made. The external world may try to distract us, to tempt us, or to pull us off course, but it is our thoughts that ultimately determine whether or not we will stay the course. To exercise self-discipline, one must learn to control their thoughts, recognizing that every thought is a potential source of power or weakness. Those who let their minds wander aimlessly find themselves easily distracted, while those who can focus their thoughts on a single objective can direct their energy and attention toward achieving it. One of the greatest challenges to self-discipline is the temptation of immediate gratification. In a world where everything is available at the click of a button, whether it be entertainment, food, or social media, it is easy to succumb to distraction. But true success lies in the ability to defer instant pleasure in favor of long-term fulfillment. Self-discipline requires the ability to say no in the moment, to resist the pull of temptation, and to stay focused on the greater reward that lies ahead. The ability to delay gratification is the key to accomplishing difficult and meaningful goals, whether it be achieving financial success, mastering a skill, or building a successful business. Another challenge to self-discipline is procrastination. Many people delay tasks, sometimes without even realizing why. Procrastination is often a result of fear, perfectionism, or a lack of motivation. It's easy to put off something that feels difficult or uncomfortable. However, procrastination is the enemy of progress. It leads to unnecessary stress, feelings of guilt, and a lack of productivity. Those who possess self-discipline recognize that the best way to overcome procrastination is by taking immediate action. The first step, no matter how small, creates momentum. Once momentum is gained, it becomes easier to continue making progress. Self-discipline also requires the ability to maintain focus. In a world filled with constant distractions, focus is a rare and valuable commodity. To stay disciplined, one must learn to eliminate distractions and create an environment that fosters concentration. This means turning off notifications on the phone, setting boundaries with others, and creating dedicated time for deep work. A disciplined person is able to ignore the noise around them and zero in on what truly matters. Focus is the key to completing tasks efficiently and effectively, and without it, even the most disciplined person can falter. Part of developing self-discipline is creating habits that support long-term goals. Successful people don't rely on occasional bursts of motivation. Instead, they build systems and routines that make success inevitable. For example, an athlete does not wait for motivation to train. They have a set schedule and they follow it no matter how they feel. A writer does not wait for inspiration. They sit down at their desk every day and write, even if it's just a few sentences. Self-discipline is rooted in the consistency of habits. By creating positive, goal-oriented habits, an individual sets themselves up for success in the long run. These habits take the decision-making out of the equation and allow the person to focus on executing the task at hand. Another critical aspect of self-discipline is the ability to manage time effectively. Time is one of the most valuable resources we have, yet it is often squandered through poor time management. People who lack self-discipline may find themselves wasting hours on unimportant tasks, unable to prioritize their responsibilities. Those with self-discipline understand that time is a finite resource, and they use it wisely. They prioritize their most important tasks, delegate or eliminate less important ones, and create schedules that maximize productivity. Time management isn't about being busy. It's about being productive and intentional with how we spend our time. Self-discipline also involves making choices that align with long-term goals, even when they conflict with short-term desires. This requires an inner strength to withstand external pressures and make decisions based on what will bring the greatest benefit in the future. For example, it may be tempting to skip a workout or eat unhealthy food, but the disciplined individual understands that these short-term pleasures will not lead to the long-term health and vitality they desire. Every choice, no matter how small, is an opportunity to either strengthen or weaken self-discipline. Consistently making the right choices over time leads to extraordinary results. One of the most powerful aspects of self-discipline is its ability to build resilience. Life is filled with setbacks and challenges, and those who lack self-discipline may be quick to give up when things don't go as planned. In contrast, those who are disciplined approach challenges with persistence and determination. They understand that obstacles are a natural part of the journey, and they do not allow setbacks to deter them from their goals. Instead, they see challenges as opportunities to learn and grow. The ability to persevere in the face of adversity is one of the hallmarks of self-discipline and a key factor in long-term success. The process of cultivating self-discipline is not easy, and it requires consistent effort and practice. There will be times when the temptation to give up or stray from the path is strong. There will be moments of doubt and frustration, and the journey may feel slow and tedious. However, the rewards of self-discipline are undeniable. It is the bridge between aspirations and achievements, the difference between wishing and doing. Those who master self-discipline unlock their true potential and gain the ability to shape their destiny. In the end, self-discipline is about creating a life of purpose, focus, and intentionality. It is about making choices that align with our deepest values and long-term vision, even when it is difficult or inconvenient. By cultivating self-discipline, we gain the power to control our thoughts, behaviors, and actions, and to create the life we desire. Self-discipline is not a one-time effort, but a continuous practice that grows stronger with each choice we make. Through self-discipline, we outsmart the distractions and temptations that stand in our way, and we unlock the full potential of our lives. One of the most underestimated aspects of achieving success is the power of persistence. It is the characteristic that separates those who achieve their dreams from those who give up too soon. When faced with challenges, failures, and setbacks, the ability to keep going, even when it seems that all hope is lost, is often what turns ordinary people into extraordinary achievers. Persistence is not merely about stubbornly continuing without reason, but it is the result of having a clear goal, a deep sense of purpose, and the determination to overcome every obstacle that stands in the way. To outsmart the forces that conspire against us, we must understand the importance of persistence and how to cultivate it within ourselves. The path to success is rarely smooth. In fact, it is often filled with twists, turns, and unexpected hurdles. Most people, when they encounter these obstacles, will begin to question whether their goal is truly worth pursuing. Some will become disheartened, others will doubt their abilities, and a few will simply walk away, convinced that the struggle is not worth the effort. But for those who understand the power of persistence, these challenges are seen not as roadblocks, but as necessary steps on the journey to success. Every setback, failure, or difficulty is simply an opportunity to learn, adjust, and grow stronger. Persistence is the ability to keep moving forward despite the difficulties that arise. It is the willingness to face failure head-on, not as a reflection of one's inadequacies, but as a natural part of the process. Every great success story, whether in business, sports, or any other field, is built upon a foundation of repeated efforts, often in the face of significant adversity. It is the individual who refuses to quit, who understands that success is not a single event, but a series of steps that must be taken consistently no matter the challenges faced. One of the key aspects of persistence is understanding that failure is not an end, but a beginning. Many people give up after their first failure, believing that it is a sign that they are not meant to succeed. However, those who persist view failure as a stepping stone toward their ultimate goal. It is through failure that we learn what does not work, which brings us closer to discovering what does. Failure provides valuable feedback, teaching us to refine our approach, adjust our strategies, and approach the next challenge with greater wisdom. Every time we fail and continue moving forward, we build resilience. And that resilience is what ultimately leads to success. One example of persistence in the face of failure is the story of Thomas Edison, who famously said that he had not failed, but found 10,000 ways that didn't work while inventing the light bulb. He encountered countless setbacks, rejections, and failures, but he never gave up. His persistence led to a breakthrough that changed the world. Similarly, the Wright brothers, despite facing numerous setbacks, failures, and ridicule, persisted in their dream of flying. They understood that persistence was the key to turning their vision into reality. They were willing to keep going no matter how many times they failed, because they believed in their purpose and their ability to succeed. Persistence is not just about continuing without pause. It's about having the courage to adapt and refine our methods. Often persistence is mistaken for stubbornness, as if simply repeating the same action over and over will lead to success. However, true persistence involves learning from failures, adjusting plans, and making necessary changes. The ability to evaluate what went wrong and make improvements is a critical part of persistence. It's easy to continue doing the same thing without thinking, but it's far more effective to persist by taking the lessons learned from setbacks and applying them to the next attempt. This adaptability ensures that each failure is not wasted, but instead becomes a valuable component of success. Another important aspect of persistence is the need to maintain a positive attitude, even when the odds seem stacked against us. It's easy to feel defeated when things aren't going our way, but persistence requires a mindset that refuses to accept failure as permanent. Positive thinking in the face of adversity helps keep the momentum going, even when the situation appears bleak. It is the belief that no matter how many times we fail, we will eventually succeed if we continue moving forward. This belief in eventual success is what fuels the fire of persistence. It keeps us going when we feel like giving up. It is the internal knowledge that the effort we put forth today will eventually pay off, even if we cannot see immediate results. Persistence also involves discipline. The drive to continue, even when we are tired, discouraged, or uninterested, requires an immense amount of self-discipline. It means sticking to a plan, setting goals, and working tirelessly toward them, even when the reward seems distant. Many people start with great enthusiasm and energy, only to find their motivation fading after a few setbacks. Those who succeed understand that persistence requires not just mental strength, but also the discipline to keep working day in and day out. The ability to maintain focus and commitment to a goal, even when it is difficult, is what separates those who achieve greatness from those who fall short. One of the greatest enemies of persistence is self-doubt. When faced with failure, it's easy to question our own abilities and wonder if we are capable of achieving our goals. Doubt creeps in, often making us feel inadequate or undeserving of success. However, the key to overcoming self-doubt is persistence. By continuing to take action, even when we doubt ourselves, we build confidence and trust in our own abilities. Every time we overcome a challenge or learn from a failure, we grow stronger. Over time, we begin to see ourselves as capable, resilient, and resourceful, and self-doubt loses its power. Persistence in the face of doubt is the key to breaking free from the limitations that we impose upon ourselves. There is also a deep connection between persistence and passion. When we are passionate about a goal or a vision, persistence becomes easier. Passion provides the fuel that drives us forward, even when obstacles seem insurmountable. It gives us the energy and the motivation to keep going when we feel like giving up. Passion is what sustains persistence through the toughest times. It is the fire that burns within us, reminding us of why we started in the first place. Without passion, persistence would be much harder to maintain, as the will to continue would eventually fade. But when we are driven by a deep sense of purpose, persistence becomes a natural extension of that passion. Persistence is also about maintaining patience. Success does not usually come overnight. It takes time, effort, and constant striving toward a goal. Those who understand the power of persistence are willing to be patient with the process. They know that success is a journey, not a destination, and they are willing to take the time necessary to reach their goals. The frustration of slow progress can often cause people to give up too soon, but persistence requires patience and a long-term perspective. It is the ability to keep working toward a goal day after day, even when results are not immediately visible. One of the most important elements of persistence is resilience. Life is unpredictable and setbacks are inevitable. But those who persist are not defeated by these setbacks. They are able to bounce back, stronger and more determined than before. Resilience allows individuals to recover from failures, learn from their mistakes, and continue forward. Without resilience, it would be easy to give in to discouragement and quit. But persistence requires an unwavering belief that we can continue, regardless of how many times we fail or how many obstacles stand in our way. Ultimately, persistence is the key to success. It is the trait that enables individuals to keep going when others have given up. It is the trait that turns dreams into reality, and it is the trait that separates the winners from the losers. Persistence requires patience, resilience, passion, and an unwavering belief in oneself. It is not about never failing, but about continuing to try no matter how many times we fall. By mastering the power of persistence, we can overcome any obstacle, conquer any challenge, and achieve the success we desire. Through persistence, we outsmart the forces that try to hold us back, and we emerge victorious, stronger, and more capable than ever before. Mastering the ability to take decisive action is a cornerstone of success. Yet it is something that many people struggle with. Procrastination, fear, and doubt can paralyze even the most well-intentioned individuals. In our world of infinite possibilities, it can often seem like the right decision is elusive and the thought of making the wrong choice leads to hesitation. However, decisive action is what differentiates those who achieve their goals from those who remain stagnant. Taking action is what transforms dreams into reality. To outsmart the forces that conspire to keep us from success, we must learn the importance of decisiveness and how to harness the power of taking bold, calculated steps toward our goals. At the core of decisiveness is the ability to trust oneself and the process. Many people hesitate because they fear making the wrong decision, yet indecision itself is often the worst choice. The key to taking decisive action lies in the understanding that no decision is perfect and no plan goes exactly as anticipated. Success does not hinge on being right every time, but on the willingness to act, adapt, and keep moving forward. Decisive action is often the result of trusting that even if a mistake is made, there will always be opportunities to course correct. Inaction, on the other hand, guarantees nothing. No progress, no learning, and no growth. Procrastination is one of the greatest obstacles to taking decisive action. It is the enemy of progress and the primary reason many people fail to achieve their goals. We put things off, telling ourselves that we will get to them tomorrow, next week, or when the time is right. The problem with this mindset is that it often leads to perpetual delays. We wait for the perfect moment or the ideal set of circumstances. But the reality is that the perfect moment rarely arrives. Waiting for things to align is a surefire way to stay stuck in a cycle of inaction. The truth is that the best time to take action is always now. The key to overcoming procrastination is simply to start, even if the first step is small or imperfect. Once we begin, momentum starts to build, and the process of decision-making and action becomes easier. Another common challenge when it comes to taking decisive action is the fear of failure. Fear of making the wrong decision or failing can cause us to freeze in place. We tell ourselves that making no decision is safer than making the wrong one. However, this fear often creates more harm than good. Failure, in many cases, is not the end. It is an essential part of the journey toward success. Those who take decisive action understand that failure is simply a learning experience. Each failure teaches us something new. helps us refine our approach and guides us toward a better decision the next time. The real failure occurs when we allow fear to prevent us from acting altogether. To overcome the fear of failure, we must reframe our understanding of it. Instead of seeing failure as a reflection of our inadequacy, we must view it as an opportunity to grow. Successful people fail, but they fail forward. They take action despite the possibility of failure, knowing that the lessons learned from failure will lead them closer to their goals. The key is to take calculated risks, acknowledging that failure is not something to fear, but something to embrace as part of the growth process. Another barrier to taking decisive action is the feeling of being overwhelmed by the magnitude of the task at hand. The larger the goal, the more daunting it can seem, and this can cause us to procrastinate or become paralyzed by the idea of how much work is required. However, breaking down a large goal into smaller, manageable tasks can make it much easier to approach. Decisive action doesn't always mean taking one giant leap. It often means taking a series of small steps that move us closer to the desired outcome. The key is to take the first step, no matter how small. Once we begin, the next step becomes clearer, and the momentum we build will carry us forward. It is also essential to recognize that indecision is often a result of seeking perfection. Many people hesitate because they feel that they don't have all the information or that they need to make the perfect decision. They worry that making a mistake will have irreversible consequences. However, perfection is an illusion. The most successful people are not those who make perfect decisions, but those who make good decisions quickly and learn from them. In many cases, the fear of making the wrong choice leads to paralysis, preventing any action from being taken at all. The key to overcoming this is to realize that no decision is set in stone. Once we make a decision, we can always adjust and refine our course. The important thing is to take action. In order to make decisive action a habit, it is crucial to cultivate a mindset of boldness. This doesn't mean being reckless or impulsive, but it means developing the confidence to trust your judgment and take action when needed. Boldness is the result of self-confidence, which comes from a belief in your own ability to handle challenges and make things happen. When we act decisively, we send a signal to ourselves that we are capable and competent. This reinforces our belief in our abilities and gives us the confidence to take action in the future. Bold action is also contagious. When others see us making decisive moves, they are more likely to be inspired to do the same, creating an environment where action becomes the norm. Taking decisive action also involves being comfortable with uncertainty. Life is unpredictable, and no matter how much planning we do, there will always be elements of uncertainty. Decisive action requires the courage to move forward without having all the answers. Many people hesitate because they want to be absolutely certain before taking the next step. However, certainty is often a byproduct of action. The more we take decisive steps, the more clarity we gain. It is through action that we learn and discover what works, and it is in the process of moving forward that we begin to see the way forward more clearly. Comfort with uncertainty allows us to embrace the unknown and take calculated risks, knowing that we are capable of handling whatever challenges come our way. An important component of decisiveness is the ability to make decisions quickly and stick with them. This means resisting the temptation to second-guess ourselves or constantly reassess the decision. People who struggle with indecision often find themselves constantly analyzing their options, trying to find the perfect choice. This leads to mental paralysis, where no decision is made at all. Once a decision is made, it is important to commit to it and move forward with confidence. Of course, adjustments may be needed along the way, but the key is to trust the decision-making process and not dwell on past choices. Decisive action is about making decisions with clarity and confidence, and then taking swift steps to carry them out. A critical part of decisiveness is having the discipline to follow through. Making a decision is only the first step. Following through is what separates those who succeed from those who don't. Discipline is necessary to ensure that we stay on course, take the necessary steps, and complete the tasks that will lead us to our goal. It's easy to get excited about a new project or idea, but without the discipline to see it through, it remains nothing more than an unfulfilled dream. Discipline in execution allows us to take consistent, focused action toward our goal, turning our decisions into accomplishments. Finally, taking decisive action is an act of empowerment. When we make decisions and take action, we take control of our lives. We are no longer passive participants waiting for things to happen to us. We become active creators of our own future. This sense of control is empowering and motivates us to keep moving forward, regardless of the obstacles we face. When we take decisive action, we move closer to our dreams, and with each step, our confidence and sense of purpose grow. In the end, the power of decisive action lies in its ability to propel us toward success. Indecision and inaction are the greatest enemies of progress, while decisive action is the catalyst that turns potential into reality. By overcoming fear, procrastination, and doubt, we can embrace the power of action and begin to move forward with purpose and confidence. Through decisive action, we outsmart the forces that seek to hold us back and create the future we desire.